I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome to Rotary Club of Edina, Zoom 2023, winter, cold, snowy, lots of fun. We are very fortunate to have Henry Jimenez with the Executive Director of Latino Economic Development Center joining us today, which is fantastic. Thank you for accommodating us on Zoom due to Mother Nature always winning. Today's meeting, we will have let's do this. Becky?
Yep.
Ping.
Okay.
Ping.
All right.
Meeting team, we did not need most of you. Thank you for always doing, people showing up and doing their jobs, doing their commitment to Rotary. As part of that is being, having these assignments. Mike Martini greatly appreciates if you aren't able to make it, to fill your position with another fellow member. Today would have been Ann Platt as front desk and guest intro. Meeting and guest host is Heather Hansen. As guest host, that person has, we have taken the Barker writing and made it into guest host. So that person will meet visiting Rotarians, prospective members, and just guests who want to come and hear the speaker. But remember, we're all hosts, and as Bob Stellick says, you only get one chance for first impressions. Greeter and invocation today will be Tom Cook. Greeter and thank you to the speaker, Lindsay Smaka. Speaker introduction, Sylvester Thomas. And we will not need a photographer today, but Mark Jessen is always appreciated when he takes pictures. Ping.
All right, hold on.
What can I find? Member spotlight. Andre Brewer he coaches the Minnetonka High School cheerleading team down to the national championships down in Orlando. You can see him back there having a lot of fun. He said he had a great time. They won a lot of different events. He said it was pretty intense with the amount of competition, practice, and also being responsible for all the young ladies and then the abundance of parents. And they had a great time. Erica Allenberg was also down there with her daughter. Ping. Excuse me. Sylvester Thomas went to visit his daughter, who works in DC, Washington, DC, as a U.S. diplomat to Rwanda. And here's Sylvester at the Martin Luther King Memorial. Pretty cool. Ping. Rolf and Katie Campbell on their great walkabout or drive-about. Here they are in San Antonio, having just an absolute blast down at the tailgating outside the Alamo Dome with the Brahma Wave. Excuse me. And they are now outside of the oldest dance hall in the U.S. for live music. And apparently, see, it doesn't show that there. You can't see it, but Leanne Rhymes has a residency there right now. Ping. Tom Cook for the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and four-way test.
I clean up pretty well in that picture there.
Yes, you do.
Good afternoon, everyone. I selected today a prayer from Walter Brueggemann, offered today for Rotarians who practice service and provide leadership and frankly have busy lives. Our lives are occupied territory, occupied by a cacophony of voices, and the din undoes us. In the daytime, we have no time to listen, beset as we are by anxiety and goals and assignments and work. And in the night, the voices are so confusing, we can hardly sort out what could possibly be your voice from the voice of our mothers and our fathers, our children, our best friends, or our pet projects. We are a people over whom the word listen has been written. We are listeners, but we do not always listen well. So we bid you, by the time the sun goes down today, or by the time the sun comes up tomorrow, by night or by day, that you will speak in ways that we can hear out beyond ourselves. It is your speech that carries us where we have never been, and it is your speech to us that is our only hope. So give us ears. Amen.
Amen.
To join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
America,
and to the republic for which it
stands,
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Truth
Is it fair to all
to all
concerned?
concerned.
Will it build goodwill
Goodwill
and
and
better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And I'll say for Doug Johnson, play ball.
Yeah, right.
We won't have any front desk or guest intros. Announcements, a bell. Nope, we have bowling. So wait, back up 1 second. Bowling. Look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday night at Park Tavern. Should be a great event. Kayla's arranging the teams right now. Not sure if anyone has started to try and cheat yet or stack their team yet, Kayla, but I think she does take cash. So look forward to seeing everybody Saturday night. Ping. A bell.
Yes, sir. All right. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and share a little bit about the work that we do. And when I say
real quick, can we have a bell? Can we just have his screen up by chance? His picture?
I've got his picture.
Okay.
He should
Sorry to
be,
interrupt it that way.
no, it's okay.
and then he should be, I don't know how to get him.
We'll
front
just go
center.
back to the screen. There you go.
There you go. There you go. All right.
Magic. It's magic. Thank you.
All right, again, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here to share about the work that we do at the chamber. So the name is Abel Ibane, Chairman and President of the Minnesota Black Chamber of Commerce. I've been leading the chamber since 2020. So when COVID hit, that's when I took over the chamber. I had really very limited knowledge about what the chamber was doing in Minnesota. I was trying to figure it out. So what a great time to take over an organization that's going to go through unprecedented times. Along the way, I've learned a lot about business, a lot about impacting communities, because that's really what we do. As our mission statement states, we're advocating for small businesses owned by Blacks in Minnesota. We help them start, scale, and sustain their operations. And the focus in 2023 is really in 3 areas. We're, number one, creating authentic relationships, and that's with all the organisms in the ecosystem. We used to call it eco chamber. Now it's an ecosystem because we want to make sure that it's a balanced ecosystem and all organisms are playing the role that they need to play to make sure we're lifting up our communities. Then the second aspect is exposure to business development. We do some trainings through the chamber, but I'll touch on a few points in each of those main lines. Then the third aspect is access to capital, because that's a recurring theme as we meet with our entrepreneurs and connect with other businesses and entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs. That's a theme that's recurring. So we want to make sure we expose them to those resources to make sure they're running sustainable business. So from bottom up, starting with access to capital, we recently launched an initiative called 10,000 Black Business Program, because we noticed that in the past, we had duplicity. So a lot of organizations were trying to affect change, but it wasn't really something that was centered anywhere. So we're trying to bring that to Minnesota by saying, we're going to start with 10,000 Black businesses. When are we going to reach there? I don't know, but I know it's possible. We can do it. So the program is designed to spend at least $10 million over the next 5 years in Minnesota. How do we intend on raising that money? It's through donations. So far, we've been able to raise over $2 million. So we're floating with $3 million now, and we'll continue to reach out to stakeholders and people really, or organizations trying to affect change in Minnesota. So we accept donations. If you want to make any donations, please, by all means, reach out to us. The money is going to go a long way. Then we get to exposure to business training. We can give you the money, but money is the beginning of the solution. The money is not always the solution. We want to make sure that if we're giving you $5,000, that $5,000 will be multiplied and maybe become $50,000. We just concluded a training in partnership with Huntington Bank. It was a 3-part series training. The first portion of it was best practices. Usually don't like to use best practices because they don't work for everyone. So we shouldn't call them best practices. We should probably call them known practices around marketing, meeting the funders, and how to run a business. So we concluded that, and we're looking at doing more of that type of training in the future. Then the first point I'd mentioned around creating authentic connections, we have our member mixers every first Thursday of the month. The intent of that is really to bring stakeholders together, members, and everyone trying to affect change in the same room to chat and talk about what they're doing. Quite frankly, every time we have a member mixer, I challenge everyone attending to do 3 things. So talk to 3 business owners that you've never met in the past, learn about them as a person, learn about why they decided to do the business they're doing, and number 3, how you can help. Because the easiest way that we can all push in the same direction and really see the change that we're trying to see is if we collectively push in the same direction and we help each other. That's how we're going to lift our community. So that's in a nutshell what we do at the Chamber. And I will take any questions, or if I don't have time for questions, you can always reach out to me. Sylvester, you have my contact information. It can be an email or a phone call. We can talk.
Thank you, Abel. That's
Thank
fantastic. It's a great organization. So you can reach out to Abel. If you want to stay with us, that'd be great. We have Lisa Walker, who's going to give an update on our what our board's been up to.
Oh,
Okay,
unmute.
can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. So a lot's been going on, and I think the main thing I want to emphasize is that we've got a lot of committee chairs just working super hard, as well as board members. And hopefully everyone is making you all proud. And also, when I mentioned some things the committees are doing, hopefully you'll be inspired to join them or go to a meeting or find out something more. So let's start off with Treasurer's Report. We know Kayla and Julie did an awesome job with Gala. We're still reconciling final numbers, but really great. We're so lucky to have Erica Allenberg as our membership director. She is really just has so many updates. She's helped us update the system so much and automate it, which is really great because clearly her suggestions are making it much more favorable. And we have 156 members currently. Our goal is 163. So please invite people you think that would really enjoy and would enjoy us. In terms of Mike Martini, he always laughs because he never has a club report, but he does a big job for club service. But he did mention that the rotating the tables went really smoothly and people really enjoyed that. John Butoff on community service projects. It's a committee near and dear to my heart in particular. Working really hard with the other clubs in the district to really help the renewal of the Lake Street businesses. So there's been lots of flyers going on, and every time a marketing event or piece goes out, the Rotary is always recognized, which is just awesome. Other ones to think about or to come forward or to plan for in the future, they are going to have a bus tour for Rotary members so that we can tour all the different murals on Lake Street. Also Involve Minnesota on April 15th, we're going to have a a great opportunity to volunteer, both cooking and feeding the homeless. We're doing a joint service project with the Edina Federated Women's Club for human trafficking. VEEP, we still have, I believe we still have some volunteer dates available. And also, just as a plug for John, if you can use the club runner as you register for events, it's really great to make sure we secured enough volunteers. Well, I probably don't have to tell you that Ryan Wilson and his committee have just been so busy working on voting on all the projects, and 51 applications were voted on. And I believe that they also met to, weather permitting, to figure out the grant money. So he's going to be giving a report on that, but just awesome. Lots of great statistics. Sylvester Thomas is doing a great job with DEI. The next Black business mixer will be March 16th. And the committee's been meeting on a regular basis. You heard from Abel today, and that's awesome. Anyone can come to the committee meetings anytime you want. It's open invitation. And then on international service, Renee Harberts and her committee have been working really hard, giving up some money to some really great international organizations. Dick Tegan's, for example, district grant for vision screening in Tanzania. We also have the Honduras Wash Project and the Tutu Dash campaign. All of these just giving really great advantages, just things that we just take for granted, like school desks for our students and clean water for everyone, sanitation. Youth service, Andre Brewer, they're putting on the leadership ethics seminar, more to come, but right now it's slated to happen sometime end of March, beginning of April. So if you can help support that, I'm sure they would appreciate that. Camp Ryla is going on the 25th and 28th of April. And I think Heather Hansen is still working on securing homes for the Rotary Exchange students for next year. So if you're interested, please let Heather know, because it's such a great program. And I believe we'll be hearing from our Rotary Exchange students as well as ours that we sponsor to go abroad. Public image, well, Katie is doing such an awesome job. We are getting such great publicity and really just promoting Rotarians in our Rotary Club. And most notably, or recently, we participated in Rotary Awareness Day at the Minnesota State Capitol on January 30th, again, including emphasizing our awareness. And then let's talk about Kayla. Kayla and her committee are just doing a fantastic job with all, hopefully you participated in the fitness events that she's had so far. Bowling, as Joe mentioned, is happening this Saturday. I know I'm going, Gage is going. Hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll see you there. Look forward to some fireside chats in May, and of course our picnic in June. And then Catherine Gump, busy at work now with the Rotary Foundation. Our goal is 75,000. Last we reported, we were halfway there. She's going to have a lot of fun and exciting events that we're going to try to get everyone to participate if you can. And then on the Edina Rotary Foundation, we're just working on cash flow, making sure that we have everything in a very clear manner so that we understand how much money we have coming in and going out, and that we can spend as much as we can on great benefits. Thanks, Joe.
Oh, you're very welcome. Great job. Nice update. We're going to skip the Rotary Minute. Sylvester Thomas, a 3-year member of our club, and he is chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. If you could do the guest intro.
Let me go off from you. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. So before I introduce Henry Jimenez, Henry and I had spoken earlier this week. We found out that we had a lot in common. And before I give you a little bit of his background, when I was in DC, and this kind of relates to the great work that Henry's doing in the community and throughout the Twin Cities, this particular quote at the MLK Memorial really stuck out to me. It really exemplified what Henry's doing, but also what we're doing at Rotary. It says here, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. So that was the reason I stood there and I took that picture, because it really exemplified the work that we're all trying to do here in Edina with Rotary. And like I said, I had met with Henry earlier, and I really got that sense when we chatted over the phone for several minutes that he's a person that really cares about the community. Now, Henry Jimenez is the executive director and president of the Latino Economic Development Center. He's originally from Las Vegas, Nevada. Henry came to Minnesota, make Minnesota his home in 2008. He has dedicated his academic and professional life to advocating for and advancing his community. Prior to joining the LEDC, Henry ran a variety of programs and organizations and local to statewide scope. During his tenure at CANDO, which is Central Area Neighborhood Development Organization, Henry successfully increased the budget, widened community reach, and guided development of several community-driven programs that continue to benefit residents today. At the helm of MCLA, Minnesota Council on Latino Affairs, Henry worked to connect with Latino communities and business owners across the state, familiarizing them with MCLA's work, listening to their concerns, and including their voices in the legislative conversations happening at the Capitol. Henry also serves as the founding president of the board of directors at COPO, a nonprofit working to consolidate and activate the civic power of Minnesota Latinos. The experiences, insight, and connections Henry has accumulated in the past decade position him perfectly to take over leadership of the Latino Economic Development Center in 2019. Henry's focus with the LEDC is to help Latino entrepreneurs start or expand their businesses. He considers his work an honor and a privilege because of the opportunity it gives him to not only support the Latino community itself, but also to recognize and amplify its important place in Minnesota's economy. Henry lives in Richfield with his wife and 2 young children. So Henry, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you, Sylvester. That is a pretty good introduction. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for having me. I was with you about last summer, so I'm glad to be invited back. I guess it didn't go too bad last time, so I'm here, right? So I don't know if you all can see my PowerPoint. Is that visible to all you?
Yes, yes. Just have to let me know when to advance, Henry.
Okay. So
Henry, the code I've got with Becky is just say ping when you want the slide to move.
just say
Ping.
That's okay.
okay.
We are on slide 1.
Yeah, so slide 1, this is what our team looks like. Really happy to show you like a very committed, diverse group of folks. And what I'm proud of is that these folks are either immigrants or children of immigrants themselves. And so there's a very personal connection to the folks that we're working with. And so, if you ever see any of them on Lake Street or St. Paul or even in Greater Minnesota, because we're a statewide organization, I can assure you that they're fully committed to the mission. Next slide, please.
Up.
Our mission is to transform our community by creating economic opportunity for Latinos. And we really do this thinking that it's not that we're just in the business of supporting businesses. We're in the business of supporting folks build generational wealth and be able to make a living, not just for themselves, but for their employees and the folks that they support. And so to me, it's important that we take that in mind. We want to make sure that they succeed, but take in mind we're a nonprofit and have a certification as a community development financial institution that is provided to us, or we're certified through the Department of Treasury. And we have other designations, but I think that's the one that's the most important to us. Next slide. One back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Just in the last year, we've served over 1,000 people. I think it's closer to 1,100, if I remember correctly. We, in the last 2.5 years, administered over $22 million in emergency assistance to about 500 businesses. We also supported nearly 5,000 households be able to pay their mortgage or rent or utility bills through a program called the COVID Housing Assistance Program. And mind you, we're not a housing organization, but like many folks in this call today, and I could tell because I know that many of you have always said, what can we do, right? And so as an organization, we also felt the same way of, well, what else can we do to support our Minnesotan community, regardless of Latino or not? What can we do? And we reached out to the Minnesota Housing Finance Authority and said, hey, we think we can help you administer some of these funds. And I could tell you that we became the #1 administrator of that program. So a combination of that and small business relief programs, it was about $22 million that we've administered in the last 2.5 years. We've lent out about $7.6 million in the last, since we started as a CDFI, which is since 2010. But last year alone, we were able to lend out an affordable patient capital nearly $2 million. So our loan fund is growing and our capacity is growing. And so I just want you to all know that whatever our organization might have been in the last 20 years, which by the way, this will be our 20-year anniversary, was mostly focused on technical assistance and workforce development, but we're slowly ramping into really access to capital for our communities. So what do we do? And this is, what I would say is, we help our Latino entrepreneurs and small business owners really meet them wherever they're at. Everybody's at a different stage with their business. It could be a business idea. It could already be a very mature business that needs access to capital. And so what we've done is offer 4 core programs. We support folks through business development, lending. We even have an agriculture program and employment and training. And so I'll touch on these on the next couple of slides individually. So business development, again, we help entrepreneurs or small business owners figure out, their business plan or provide them one-to-one assistance in whatever it is that they may need. Some folks are really just starting their business and have no idea that they need to register the business at the state. They need a permit or some type of registration. So we're navigating those type of needs with our business owners. So we also provide entrepreneurship classes, and we invite folks that might not be ready to be a business owner themselves yet to those classes. Lending, as a community development financial institution, we have the ability to raise funds to be able to also either grant them out and or loan money to our entrepreneurs, again, at an affordable, patient manner. So this is I would say this is like a bread and butter. This is what folks like really want to come in and try to access is these funds. And as you may imagine, not everybody that comes through our door is at this point of a stage to be able to access capital. So we work with them through our business development department, but then eventually our goal is to get them to be able to access capital. And sometimes, as you all know, rates are different for different institutions at different times of the year, at different times of our economy. So our lending products might not necessarily be the best for our client. And we would tell them like, hey, you're better off working with one of our banking partners because their rates are better and we want you to do well. As you all can imagine, I actually think our rates might be more competitive nowadays. So some of our clients are actually more interested in working with us directly, or we can do participatory loans with other banks as well. We have an agriculture program. And so our agriculture program is really a combination of business development and lending. Because we see agriculture as small businesses as well. We help folks buy their first farm. We have farmers who may have the need for, purchasing high quantities of seeds or farming equipment. you name it. It's an area that slowly also is growing for us. Right now, I'm sure many of you have heard that there's a need for new, younger farmers wanting to come into the industry because our farmers, quite frankly, in Minnesota are aging. And so there is that connection, that natural connection of maybe some agricultural workers that have worked at the particular farms could, maybe take over a farm by purchasing it from, farms that have been in with families for generations that are now no longer interested in moving on themselves with that. So there's a lot of opportunity in this department. And again, employment and training, we of the 1,000 people that come through our doors, this might be funny to some of you, but we get folks that say, hey, I have this great business idea. And we start talking to them, and it's clear that the idea just came to them maybe, in a dream 2-3 weeks ago, right? And so clearly there needs to be more thought and more education around what would it take to take that to an actual business. And then there's others that just need help with their accounting or marketing or other technical areas that we want to help them be getting trained on. Some folks might be opening a restaurant and need to get a serve safe, or a construction company needs to go through their OSHA training. Those are the type of trainings that we try to help our clients with. And then we have some strategic initiatives. We've invested in some real estate to be able to help Latino entrepreneurs be able to become owners of the buildings that they may have been operating for many years, and so we've definitely helped some folks acquire the building that they have operated from. We have in our portfolio, we have commercial properties and one that we have leased, a kitchen incubator called Mi Cocina in St. Paul. And then we're also starting to look into what other affordable commercial space could look like, and currently developing what we call Plaza del Sol on Payne Avenue. On the next slide, I think there might be a picture of that. Again, we served over 1,100 folks throughout the year. We've invested in staffing. We've grown. 4 years ago, when I started at LADC, we were a team of 7. We're now at, I believe, at the end of last year, we were about 18. We've taken a dip, as you can all imagine. Trying to keep folks from going somewhere else is we look at it as favorable. We obviously want our team to also go to bigger, better things for themselves too. So we're also kind of dealing with some of our staffing needs, but we should at some point be as many as 20 to 22 full-time employees, which again, it creates more capacity for us. We brought back the Latino Scholarship Fund golf tournament now for the last 2 years, and it's been sold out, and there's been a lot of excitement for folks who like to golf, or even the folks that don't golf, to participate and be able to raise funds to support education. And we've invested in advocacy. As you all know, there's an $18 billion surplus at the legislature. If we're not there, if we're not asking for additional resources, we may not receive them, right? And so I think we've been very good at letting the legislature know of our impact and how the invested money in our organization is really helping our communities have a very good return on their investments, because that's how I see legislative appropriations being. I see them as investments. I don't see them as a blank check. I see them as, we're going to take this money and do everything we can to make sure that the state gets more from what they have given to us. And so I'm excited to tell you that we've done very well in that realm. And again, this is Plaza del Sol. We've acquired this building in 2020, and hopefully in June we will be breaking ground in an $8 million revitalization project. So we will, keep the bones of this building, but everything inside, it's just gonna, be beautified, and there's gonna be businesses on the first floor that will be able to return to some beautiful new space. And second floor will be an event center, event space. And, I know it's in St. Paul, folks, but I look forward to having maybe some of your events hosted there. Again, some of your support, in many ways, I feel is contributing to projects like this, which again is an $8 million project that hopefully will be completed within a year of groundbreak. And again, that will happen in June. I think I went a little fast, but I hope you all have some questions for me. But I want to end by saying I was glad that Abel from the Black Chamber of Commerce presented before me, because in many ways, we're doing similar work, and I aspire to doing similar work as Abel is doing in his group. It's access to capital, and it's access to capital in a way that makes sense for these entrepreneurs to succeed. And it needs to be patient, and it needs to be long-term and favorable. And that's just one aspect of many things that we need to work towards here. And with that, I will take some questions.
Hey, Henry, I have a quick question. So do you assist them with the SBA loan? So if for some reason they can't qualify for your loan, do you help them like with the application process and guidance with getting an SBA loan?
We currently don't do SBA loans, but we participate with other organizations that do. So I would almost say it's the other way around. If they don't qualify for an SBA loan, they tend to come to us. And there's various reasons that they may or may not qualify, that, it's not a bad thing for them. It's just maybe the scale or whatever they're working on might not be something that that can go through an SBA loan. But we currently don't do SBA. And we're fairly new to lending. As I mentioned, we became certified in 2010. We really didn't start wrapping up our lending till 2013, 2014. So SBA lending is definitely on one of our strategic areas of growth.
A question that I would have is, I may have missed the number, but how many members do you have? And then what is the breakdown of the members of the chamber for metro versus outstate in rural Minnesota?
Yeah, we used to be a membership-driven organization, so that is not the case anymore. So I would say that we consider them more clients of ours, not necessarily members, even though we treat them like family, to be quite honest with you. I always tell my team that I want all of our clients to be treated as if it was our own parents coming in. And quite frankly, most of our clients look like my parents, right? They have this entrepreneurship spirit. They want to do something. They don't want to be given anything. And honestly, like they all want to give back. And I've always told them, like, before you give back, I want you to actually, be in the green, not in the red. I want you to actually be making money, and I want you to be successful. But to answer your question, out of the 1,000 clients that we see a year, I would say that about half of them we see more than once, right? So some of them might just be a quick fix or a quick question. The 40% of our lending happens in Greater Minnesota. So I don't know if that kind of helps you. 40% is Greater Minnesota, 60% is about metro area, and it's pretty fair. It's really, we're headquarters in St. Paul. We used to be headquarters in Minneapolis, but our clientele happens to still be pretty much even, East Metro, West Metro.
Okay.
Henry, good presentation. Thank you. Can you give us a kind of an overview of the businesses that you work with, maybe the size and what areas they're in? Restaurants, maybe grocery stores, etc. Is it a pretty wide spectrum, or is it focused in any particular area?
Yeah, again, the first 20 years of LDC, I would say, I feel like we were serving, and this is, again, as I mentioned, nothing but respect for our clients, but I feel like our clientele was serving the service industry, janitorial services, restaurants, construction companies, that type of but on a small scale. And I would say, you know, I almost call LADC 2.0 version is really going into more of growth and more second generation of these very same businesses that LADC has had a relationship with. And I'll give you a couple examples, or I'll give you an example. We have a business that has 7 restaurants. You know, they're done very well, and they started with LADC when they were just trying to buy their first food truck. You know, I mean, it's beautiful to see someone going from, hey, I don't even know if I'm gonna make it with my food truck, to like now they own seven restaurants, right? But their children are now, you know, in their, you know, mid 20s, early 30s, who have grown in the business, and their parents are now telling me like, okay, we got to figure out how to retire, right? And I'm telling them I would love to see them retired and calling me from, you know, a beach in Mexico or something as their kids are taking over. But there's still a need to figure out how to transfer this, right? Like there's still a financial aspect of they need to be taken care of. So how does the new family members buy the business from their parents? And that's what we're starting to see. And that's what I want to start being able to, you know, be able to provide the financial products that would help with that, right? And unfortunately, right now our maxes of a loan is 250,000, right? So it's like we would need to partner with maybe another financial institution, or we need to start looking at how do we upgrade our policies to make sure that we can start supporting those type of transactions.
Good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, Henry, I may have missed it, but one of the aspects of starting a new business, of course, is to have a good business plan. Can you talk a little bit about how you help these new entrepreneurs put together a good business plan?
Yeah, Jim, I would like to think that I'm a pretty organized person myself, and it really drives me crazy when I see, you know, some pretty successful business owners, and there's a lack of a business plan. And it's like, wow, can you imagine how much time you would have if you were more organized in this way? And the reality, Jim, is that we get folks from an array of spectrums. We get folks that are very organized. They come in, you know, in their own way, have created some type of a business plan. And we have others that come in and say, hey, I just signed a 7-year lease. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm like, wow, okay, we're not going to turn you away. But at the same time, you know, we do have that conversation and say, we think that the best thing for you is to talk to one of our pro bono attorneys to figure out if there's a way for you to get out of this lease, because clearly there was no real thought process or business plan for us to feel comfortable to provide you capital, first of all, and for you to be successful in this way. And so the spectrum is wide, and we try to do our best and at least providing a template for some folks and getting some to the finish line in other cases.
Yeah, thank you.
Henry, this is Gary Pedersen. One of our Rotarians in our club, Ted Yock, is a guy that I work with. And 3 years ago, we started something called We Invest in You, and is very close in alignment with your thoughts in terms of helping early entrepreneurs where they don't have access to capital. And so we're a little smaller than you. We do $100,000 loans, 3-year bullets, 3%. And but we want someone that has already got a business that's going. And then one of the things that we do that's I think is a little bit unique is there's a couple of criteria that we require the entrepreneur. We go out and we find highly successful people in their similar industry, and we have the borrower is required to have 2 coaches that help them avoid the barriers that jump up on entrepreneurs periodically. And so they have to meet and work with their coaches. And as you pointed out, financial information is really key for running a small business. If you really want to grow it, you really need to understand, you know, what the levers are in your growth. So we require that they have financial statements, and we look at them every month. And there's a number of other things that we do, but we'd love to participate with you for these early entrepreneurs that are just not bankable. We'd be willing to sit down and talk to them and lead them through the process. There's a lot of these people are going to be successful. We require that our coaches cannot make an investment in these companies because we want them to be totally independent to help the companies and the people succeed. So you're right on in terms of what you're doing, and I really applaud what you're doing, and we'd love to partner any way we could with you.
Yeah, well, you're right on too, Gary. What you're doing is exactly what, we want partners like you. In fact, it makes sense for us to, participate together on in a loan and or providing technical assistance and guidance to someone. And I'll give you another example, and I just want to be transparent with all of you. And I always try to lead with transparency and truth. Maybe I'm already one of your members without even knowing it, but I think one of our struggles, at least within our communities, I know that there's very, very smart and qualified folks in this industry that are part of our community, but they're already working at a financial institution, right? Working at a nonprofit or CDFI like us, we tend to get more of newer people that might not necessarily have the experience doing this type of work. And so there's a lot of learning on the job as we go. And so we do depend on partners, because I love the idea, Gary, that maybe one of our staff is working with one of your mentors as well to support the same business owner. And it's a trifecta learning experience, it's not just the business owner learning,
That sounds really interesting. Thank you.
That's great, Henry. We really appreciate it. And Lindsay Smaka, you'll get off mute.
Hi. So thank you so much for your talk, Henry. I actually live in St. Paul, and Payne Avenue is 2 blocks that way. So I'm really excited to see how Plaza del Sol, I think, right? it will come to light, and I'm hopeful that we can support it. And I know I will be supporting it. So and Sylvester, I was in DC last weekend as well, and went to the MLK as well. And the quote that I took a picture of was, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." So thank you, Henry, for providing a lot of love for the community. You're doing amazing work with you and your organization. Rotary is a global network of 1.3 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. From literacy and peace to water and health, Rotarians are always working to better our world, and we stay committed to the end. In honor of your presentation, we will make a donation to Northside Boxing Club, a local nonprofit offering positive connections with youth every evening at a gym. They provide boxing classes, tutoring help, and a nutritious meal from a local restaurant. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Great job.
Thank you, Henry.
Great job.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So, Catherine Gump had to jump, but she said that she went to the morning club the other day, and they laid out a challenge to us on the foundation, Rotary Foundation grant, Rotary Foundation giving. And she spoke the other week. I was not there concerning her giving. They've thrown down, if we can get, Moritai claim they have a higher percentage of giving, of members giving over $25. So the gauntlet's been thrown down that we've been challenged to have a higher percentage of giving of over $25 to the Rotary Foundation for our club. Right now we're at 39 of us, so it's at 25%. Last year they were at 65 and we were at 59. So I know we can do better, and hopefully you'll all give to the Rotary Foundation. And we have Opportunity Alley. Opportunity Alley, we have Veep on March 15th, Veep. The 15th, we have Involve Minnesota on that Saturday morning. April 15th, the will be the final sign-up day for Guatemala service trip, June 3rd, JCS landscaping project. And we still have the ongoing Coke and Coke Rewards bottle caps and case scans. Then we have upcoming events. We have bowling on Saturday night. Then we have on March 1st, Chris Laskowski will be presenting an vocational happy hour over at Greg Rich's location, which is fantastic. You just donate $15. They have some beverages, and I think they provide a little bit of food for that. It's going to be great. Chris has got a really interesting background and interesting job. March 1st, State of the City luncheon at Braemar Golf Club. March 1st, Guatemala trip. Okay, we've got the Guatemala. March 2nd, Youth Exchange students, Sam and Evo will be speaking. They will be the program, which is very exciting. I've always enjoyed that in years past. And then on March 15th, we have Beep Pack. So, fellow Rotarians, go forth with a smile on your face, love in your hearts, you people of action. Continue to do good work in our community and the world. Thank you, Henry, for coming and presenting to us. Abel, thank you for joining us also. Meeting adjourned.